Jurgen, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to me. Can you tell us exactly where we are and what this facility is?
Well, we are in the Inland Empire of Los Angeles, about an hour away from the beach. And this is a facility that I helped with over the last couple of years with a very good friend of mine, which now is open and up and running with 24 soccer fields, with an area for concerts, with a clubhouse for having a nice lunch and a nice burger. So it's basically a place that gives the opportunity to thousands of kids every weekend to play football.
You've been the national team coach for America, but you are, of course, from Germany and played in the German national team very successfully for many, many years. They are the champions now. It would be great if you could put some words to what it's like and the requirements of being a German national player, what that is.
Well, I would say for every kind of football-driven nation, playing for the national team is the highest achievement that you can have, and with this comes responsibility. When you enter the first day, the locker room of your national team, you have to figure out a way to fight your way through. You want to claim one spot in that locker room. You want to get in there and you want to represent your country. So you learn pretty early as a younger player, if you get that opportunity, to bring out your elbows and to come in there and say, I'm going to kick somebody out here because I want to play for my country.
As a game, the game against Holland, which certain reporters in Germany, they stated that your performance was probably the best of any German ever in a World Cup. You remember that game?
Yeah, it was a special game. Obviously, you play the three AC Milan player as an Inter Milan player. So you play Holland, which is our big rival. And then it happens that Rudi Völler got red carded, Rijkaard got red carded, and suddenly the whole game changed in its dynamic and left a lot of space open to run into. And I just love to run. I love to make people tired. And I had a blast of my life in that game, and got to score then a goal. And still people say today was probably my best performance for the national team.
You've been called a reformer, which is, in my opinion, a really positive and good word. But what exactly did you change? Because when you look at the two squads, the 2004, which only scored 2 points in the Euros that year, and then you look at the squad you eventually picked for the 2006, there's not the massive difference in there. So you must have changed something that made these players think differently, perform better, so what exactly did you do?
Well, I think, to be fair, really, to everybody worked already ahead of me. The standards of German football were always very high, and obviously the disappointments that come along with not kind of winning the trophy, or at least getting the Final Four, are always kind of brutal feelings for everyone involved, But you still, when you come in as a newcomer in a certain way, you continue the work on a very good foundation. The federation is very experienced, it's very well organized, the feeder system coming from young players in the Bundesliga system is exceptional. So a lot of elements are already in place. But whenever you come in and you offer some new ideas or new approaches, different approaches, if it's a system of accountability, if it's a fitness.
So what does
testing,
that mean? What does that mean? Well, accountability, because you use that word a lot.
Yeah, but you try to kind of benchmark people. So when you come in and you benchmark people, let's say you benchmark a player in his fitness, how fast, how high you jump, how long you can run, how your stamina is, people don't like that. You might be not like that I would kind of run you through the grind and say, okay, Peter, you know what, this is not good enough. So when we achieve certain goals and when we have a certain success throughout our lives, we would like to claim those things forever. But no, they are gone. They're gone quickly. So what happened with Germany in 2004 was, they were in the World Cup final in 2002, maybe not playing a brilliant football, but they were in the World Cup final against Brazil, with Rudi Völler, an awesome guy, and then 2 years later, it all falls apart. So that means basically something went wrong culturally, something went wrong. Maybe players were full of themselves, or they were just content, and they just didn't have the hunger anymore, but they still thought, we're still great, right? So I literally said, well, I'm here because there's a reason, because I'm questioning if the people that are doing all this are really good enough. And maybe I'm not good enough myself, but I want to benchmark people now going forward in whatever they do. If they do work with the team as a sports psychologist, if it's a fitness coach, if it's the bus driver, what does he claim on, if it's an equipment manager, and especially if it's a player. I said,
so everyone who's connected with
the national team program was getting to be benchmarked, and obviously you don't make a lot of friends doing that.
And this idea came
from here, because here in the United States, it's a cutthroat industry. It's you go into baseball, American football, basketball. The best kids, they get cut at the age of 18. You make the NBA or you don't. They don't give you another 4, 5, 6 years to develop and hopefully make it. If you're not getting drafted when you maybe come out of the college system, that's it. Professional sports is gone, In Europe or in football in our world, we can still make it at 22, 23, 24. You're maybe a bit of a latecomer, but it's all right. Not here. So they developed ways and basically making it clear to the athletes that, be ready, when it really matters. So I brought a lot of those approaches into the German environment, and it started with the coaching staff. I said, I want to bring in people that know what they're doing. I'm not saying I want now somebody that is buddy with another one. I bring in the people that I believe they're good in benchmarking. They can live with that expectations as well. But it's also not a safety net. If I see that I need to change somebody within the system, I will change. So when change happens to us, usually there's a certain fear around, because nobody in his own private life really wants, as long as you kind of feel comfortable and you established a certain way of life, you don't want change, right? You want to kind of say, oh no, I got my place, I got, this and this and this, it's all working. Don't come in here and change anything. But in professional sports, what really only matters is what happens today and happens tomorrow. It doesn't really give you anything that what happened 2 years ago, 4 years ago. So with that kind of approach, I hit a lot of walls. I ran against a lot of walls. I got a lot of resistance from Bundesliga coaches. But at the end of the day, it said there was a World Cup on the line. The World Cup was 2006 in Germany. So I said, I have 2 years to bring this team, hopefully to a standard that everybody will enjoy and be proud of. And I cannot do it with waiting for change. I have no time. So I told people, listen, my deadline was June 2006. Because of that deadline, I might have to let people go today, and I cannot wait another 6 months because then it's too late. So with that came a bit that word, the reformer, because of that deadline, I did things in a much faster pace than maybe people were used to it. But it's an interesting learning curve that every nation goes through prior to a World Cup. When a team wins a World Cup or a European Championship, it's not by coincidence. It's because there are certain factors falling into place and actually work. And if some of those factors don't work, you won't win that trophy. So you're always a result of your environment, how your environment functions. And if certain people do not buy into the process and they don't, or they even hinder it, or they even, make it even worse, then you can have the most talented team on the planet and you're not going to win the World Cup.
Was your employers, the German Football Federation, were they always supportive of you all the way through, or were they...
Definitely, I was always supported in those 2 years by the president, which is the most important figure. It was Gerd Meyer-Vorfelder. Were there doubters within the federation? Oh, absolutely. Were there doubters in the media? Absolutely. Were there doubters in the Bundesliga teams? Absolutely.
You ever have to go in and say, all right, it's either my way or I leave it. Now shut up and let me do the job.
You always end up in the same discussion. You know, when you lead in this moment it was a 2-year project that I kind of, and a lot of people didn't like the word project in Germany, but I said that, you know, then if you don't pull them in the same direction, and it's better maybe you choose somebody else, you know. So when there were critical moments, I always put my job on the line and said, guys, it's okay, I can fly back to California and you choose another coach, and I keep my fingers crossed for you, and hopefully things go well. I think the last leverage a coach has is always to say, I put my job on the line.